Welcome to Jewish Debates 2. This is Beit Yahuwah, House of Prayer for All Peoples. We're going back to the debates on Facebook about the nature of Jesus and Judaism. And it's a debate between a man called Anthony and a man called Silberman. If you've seen Jewish Debates 1, you will understand where I'm coming from. Silberman had said, no serious rabbi will agree that Jesus has anything to do with the Jewish Messiah or Judaism in general. He was a man born out of wedlock who strayed from the path of Judaism and was seen as a savior of the other people, not Jews. Then Anthony replied, with what I have shown you about Jacob Emden and Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, can you now modify your opinion? Would you agree that Rabbi Jacob Emden and Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch are serious rabbis, and so Jesus has having something to do with Judaism in general? Would you agree that, do you find it interesting that both the top Reform rabbi and the top Orthodox rabbi both claim Jesus for their Judaism? Can this evidence help you to see Jesus' disciples in a different light, with a more positive image? What do you think now, which you didn't think at the beginning of the discussion? Silberman: I'm extremely busy at the moment and don't have the time to respond to your claims and questions, but there is something that I feel is important enough for me to get through to you that I am willing to spend a couple of minutes answering you. Nothing you will say or show me here will ever make me think that Jesus has anything to do with Judaism. Your missionary tactics do not and will never work on me. I am not here to be Christianized. Your attempts at converting me are rather shallow and lack any real reason for me to even consider thinking of Jesus as my Messiah. In fact, your pathetic attempts are quite upsetting, and you having an extreme negative effect, something of which I am sure you did not intend. If we are to continue discussing this, you will have to make a fundamental agreement with me here and now. You will not attempt to convert me on these public forums to your religion or try to convince me that I should accept Jesus. Accept the fact that I am Jewish. I follow Judaism and its teachings, and Jesus is not a part of that. Until you answer me and tell me you agree with this condition, I will no longer answer you. If you choose to continue your missionary tactics, I will do my best to hinder you in any way possible, including contacting Facebook and reporting you for harassment. Are we clear? Anthony replied, now it's my... Now, it's my turn to be amused, Silberman. You chuckled when I showed the allusion to Yeshua in the prayer book. Now, can't you see that the reason my attempts to convert you are so shallow is because I have not been preaching the gospel to you at all? And nobody knows it more than I, because I am a preacher. So what have I been doing? I've been addressing your prejudices with facts, which are directly in contradiction to the statements you make. For a time, you were willing to go the path of reason and do what Yahuwah once said to Israel, come, let us reason together. Have I told you, you must be born again? Have I told you, turn or burn? Have I asked you, what will you do if you wake up dead? And Yahuwah asks you, why I should let you into my heaven? No. I have done nothing of the sort, and yet you label everything I do as a tactic to convert you. See now, if the facts are now too much, and all the hatreds you cherished against knowledge in this area are too precious to think through, too emotionally charged to have a reasonable discussion about the facts, and not the fictions, then you are right. We have no need to continue the conversation. If there is no openness to change, then words apply. Stubbornness is as. So, Silverman, I will not be party to any silly agreement about not converting you on these public forums. And I do mean silly. Why? Every word you and I have written has involved no coercion whatsoever. We are free beings, and you took time to discuss, and I took time to discuss. If you decide I cannot take these facts, I cannot reason my way through the thoughts of Samson, Rabbi Shimshon, Raphael Hirsch, and Rabbi Jacob Emden, and Rabbi Harvey Falk, and Rabbi Abraham Giga, and if my bringing your attention to the statements of these rabbis causes you to get offended and upset, then it is absolutely clear you have not a slightest interest in truth whatsoever. Your interest, I would venture, is simply to survive, and truth would rock your boat. I like the approach of my 14-year-old students who have seen Sophie's World concluded. It's confusing. At least one who can admit their condition has hope. But one who talks for the sake of talking and argues for the sake of survival and defense against an enemy who is not even there, I see little hope for such a one. You will find no harassment with me. If you ask me not to write to you, I will comply. Our discussion couldn't be more voluntary. No doubt I have angered you with my words, but what has changed? Silverman, you are just a blind, brainwashed preacher. You have never read Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch's literature, and I bet you wouldn't understand it. Instead, you read some guy who claims he's a rabbi, yet worships Jesus. No wonder you thought that from your silly and simplistic posts that I would immediately believe you and start wearing a cross. Because you are that easily fooled, you must have thought everyone is. You must also think that you know a lot more about Judaism than you really do. You also seem to think that you know what kind of a Jew I am and what I believe, just like you thought that I accepted progressive Judaism. The reason you know so little about Judaism is because you read the literature of people who claim they know a lot, but are really not counted by anyone in Judaism who does. Rabbi Harvey Falk is nobody. No one's heard of him. Abraham Giga is nobody. No one's heard of him. I can find more people who claim they've been abducted by aliens than you can find Orthodox rabbis who worship Jesus. Your problem is that you can't find a real legitimate sources, so you have to look for people who claim they are Orthodox rabbis and of whom no one has ever heard of. Try finding a real source. I challenge you to find Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch original text where he supports Jesus as the Jewish Messiah. It has to be black and white, not your silly interpretations. Anthony, I never said Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch supported Jesus as the Jewish Messiah. I merely cited Susan Heschel's study, which cited Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch saying, everything that he, Jesus that is, taught, as he himself said, was already given before him by Moses and the prophets. The pure teaching of Judaism is the pure teaching of Christ. Heschel, Abraham Giga, and the Jewish Jesus, page 135. I cannot back claims I never made. However, being a blind, brainwashed Maggid has some advantages. I know I need help, and thankfully I listen to the advice of Mishle. Do not add to his words, lest you be found a liar. You said you have never read Samson Raphael Hirsch's literature. Silverman, is this a statement of fact or speculation? Do you wish it were true? Or do you honestly deep down in your heart believe that this blind brainwashed Maggid has never read Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch? Admittedly. Why do you make such statements which are so prejudiced and can so easily be disproved? I have dipped into Horeb, and I have perused his commentary on the Psalms. I have perused the Psalms in that bookshop up the stairs just off Jaffa Street. Oh, and remember, I read some of his commentary on Genesis, and he is quite a deep thinker, and as a blind, brainwashed, blood-washed preacher, I can say his thought requires some thinking. Are you willing to ponder his thought, not mine, on Jesus? Or does not your hate and emotion allow you to listen to such